Hello and welcome back everybody to my Character Crusade Unbound Season 2 Let's Play featuring Alusell, the Alteration Swordsman. Uh, Alteration Swordsman is kind of a mouthful, actually. I think on a bad speech day, like how people have bad hair days every once in a while, like you have days where I just stumble on everything I'm trying to say, I think that would be a tough one. Yet another reason to come up with a cooler name for this class. Anyway, I'm kind of excited about this episode. Not because there's going to be any kind of crazy action or anything. I think we had enough of that in the last episode with the Raghot fight. But I'm excited because I got an opportunity to think about the context of the story and kind of tie some things up. And kind of put a nice little bow on a few little things relating to the story. When did Olaf get a backpack? I just noticed that. Yeah, so anyway, we just cleared the dungeon. We had a very difficult fight with the Dragon Priest Raghot, who was our first encounter with a Dragon Priest so far in this Let's Play. And as we're kind of trying to warm up by the fire, Captain Valmir's fire, the who we suspect is a Thalmor imposter, but definitely imposter, we were visited once again by Halldir and his good buddy Olaf One-Eye. So when they first appear, Olaf is actually the first one to speak. And he confirms our suspicion that the the story from the Ghosts of Yore Part 3, I believe, that tells of a harrowing escape from Forehost from Raghot, who by some kind of army commander whose entire detachment of men was basically possessed by Raghot and turned into his own army. He barely made it out with his life. That was Olaf, or one of Olaf's ancestors, back from very early in the Merithic area, or at some point in the Merithic area. The Merithic era is probably very, very large. Probably later in the Merithic era, back when the Dragon Cult was actually a big deal. So yeah, Olaf, he gives us a very heartfelt thank you. Raghot had cursed Olaf's bloodline from far before he was even born. So he was corrupted from birth, basically, and it manifested kind of after he came to power, so to speak. It helped him defeat the dragon Numenex, and turned an otherwise honorable man into something dark, something a little sinister, something working toward the ends of Raghot. He later became the Underking, who attempted to corrupt Tiber Septim in the same way, until Halldir stepped in and kind of took on the curse for himself, and that kind of led us to where we're at in this story. So Olaf gives a heartfelt thank you for releasing his bloodline from the curse and the influence of Raghot. Basically, all ancestors from this person who made his escape were sort of possessed or at least corrupted by Raghot's influence in some way. Not anymore. Alusell took care of that. He put an end to that. So Olaf is incredibly grateful. He says thank you on behalf of his ancestors and his continuing bloodline. And he also says something along the line of, I hope it doesn't happen anytime soon, but if you ever happen to find yourself in Sovngarde, I'd love to share some mead with you. Um, and I think Alusell would be a bit tempted to say, well, I don't drink, ... Um, but in this case, he kind of stopped himself. He kind of appreciates the gesture and kind of lets that lie. He also kind of realizes that once he's dead, he can drink all the mead that he wants, and it's not going to affect or impair him in any way. So why not have some mead at that point if he's ever in Sovngarde? Not that he even believes in Sovngarde, but he appreciates the gesture, the sentiment anyway. So with that, Olaf vanishes. Oh, I missed, didn't I? Alright.
Need something?
That was a little anti-drama there for you. He vanishes, he dematerializes, and makes his way towards Sovngarde. The great mead hall in the sky. Okay, so that leaves us with Halldir. At this point, Halldir relays the message of the Ghosts of Yore story part 4. And I put the link to that in the description. It's a fun little story. This was actually probably my favorite one on its own accord. It kind of fleshes out the story of Ragnar the Red and Matilda, who kind of beheaded him in Whiterun. It turns out that Ragnar, his headless ghost, is actually the headless horseman that roams the Whiterun hold at night. And you can actually follow him to his burial site. It was fun. I was very amused by that story episode. And again, you can click on the link. It's part 4 in the description below. Go ahead and give it a listen. It's pretty short. That part of the story, that's going to be kind of hard for me to fit into the context, just because while I can go find that headless horseman and I can follow him to his resting place, I just don't see anything of significance for the sort of story hole that I've written myself into. I'm kind of on rails at this point. It's going to be, I have an end game in mind now, and it's going to be kind of hard to derail myself if I'm going to make it to the end where I want to be now, especially by the time the finale, the Unbound finale comes out, which is creeping up on me, is sneaking up on me like really soon here. So I got a lot of work to do. Anyway, the second part of that story had to do with in the part 4 story anyway, had to do with kind of just a continuation of the injured inn patron, who is kind of trying to recover, and the innkeeper keeps coming in and giving him something to drink. He's feeling a little stronger. He's hearing strange voices from the next room that seems to be pleased that he's feeling stronger. So I think the inn is kind of a veil, an illusory veil for something else, probably to do with one of the dragon priests corrupting this guy. What else? Yeah, okay, so at this point, Halldir, and this kind of deviates from the Ghosts of Yore storyline from now on. What I'm taking from that is just that is some kind of significant little tidbit of story that may prove more useful after we get the part 5, the final part of the story, to work into our own. But for now, I'm not going to really act too much on any of that. I'm going to take some creative liberty here, and I'm going to say that Halldir, after sharing that story, or that part of the story, also tells Alusell that while he was successful in vanquishing this dragon priest, he is still not strong enough. He struggled mightily. He almost died several times. And if he is going to successfully take on Hevnarak or Vokun, he's going to need to become stronger. Alusell knows this already. He doesn't need to hear it from somebody else. He's a little annoyed by that, but it's true. He's just not cutting it right now. So Halldir offers some advice. He says the best key to getting stronger at this point is... I have to look at it because I don't remember how to say it. The Vozalos Tuz Gem. And that to remember the message from the past. And that's the key to getting stronger at this point. Also, the path to his true potential begins in Helgen. And I think we all know what that means, right? So, I think... Oh yeah, and then for dramatic effect, after all that, Halldir fades away into the ether. So yeah, Alusell's not feeling too great about himself right now. That battle, after having a very easy time leading up to it, we almost didn't make it. I mean, I didn't know that I was going to be able to get through that without turning the difficulty level down, to be honest with you. Alusell feels that he probably should have died in that battle. And that, yes, indeed, he does need to get stronger. He's pissed off at himself right now, which really only motivates him. He's going to really focus on training from here on out. But he's also going to make it a large priority to follow up on that message from the past that we got so long ago outside of Solitude. And we're going to head over here to the Mount Anthor area in Winterhold. And he's going to see what Halldir is trying to point us at over here. And that'll be in an upcoming episode. I'm not going to take that on just yet. But that's definitely going to be our next step. And then kind of once we have completely explored and gotten everything that we can out of this next lead here, then we're going to head down to Helgen and see what Halldir was talking about as far as our path to our true potential beginning here. And we know it's there. At least anybody who's familiar with Live Another Life, the alternate start mod, we all know what's waiting there. And starting now, training's going to be a big thing, and restoration training is going to be a priority at some point. So I want to kind of unlock Danica Purespring as the restoration trainer in Whiterun. I think that would be a nice option to have there. So I think Alusell, either on the way to or from Orphan Rock here to continue that Elder Galeem quest that unlocks Danica as a trainer. He's going to hit up Helgen and try to see exactly what Halldir was talking about. And this concept of being the Dragonborn and Alusell being at odds with it is really something that I want to explore. So I really have my work cut out for me. Anybody who's played through Caranthir Tower and set that place all up to a place where it's actually significant for a story knows that that's actually a ton of work as well. So yeah, I definitely have my work cut out for me. The finale, the very last episode of Unbound Season 2 is coming up in less than 2 weeks now. So I got to figure out how to get all the way through Caranthir Tower to kind of unlock all the training and everything that it has to offer for Alusell. That's going to take a while. Not to mention earning the resources to actually unlock all that stuff. And then going through the main quest to explore what Alusell, how Alusell comes to terms with this divine gift that's in his blood, when he just wants to do everything on his own accord and test his own strength in a very pure way, how that affects him, and then finally get to a place where we choose who we're going to kill, Hevnarak or Vokun or some other wacky thing that that isn't killing either one of them. If I can think of something interesting outside of the box to do, I'll do it. I have some vague kind of story points that I want to hit upon, and kind of an ending point of... I have like a little vision of where Alusell is going to end up after all of this. But the journey is going to be just as much of an exploration for me as it is for you watching. So that should be fun. I think along the way I'm also going to maybe join the companions just for access to more combat training there. And do some more College of Winterhold stuff, just to kind of unlock some of the master spells that I might want to use through all this stuff. I don't know how pertinent the College of Winterhold quest is to Alusell's story at this point, so I might just do all that off camera, but the rewards for that quest are something that I kind of would like to be using with Alusell. A lot of that stuff seems really fun to me, especially with Vancian magic, being able to kind of rapid fire master level spells, and come up with cool combinations like that, I think is a really exciting prospect for me. I can also see Alusell making the trek to different orc strongholds to try to continue his combat training. I know the master level trainers for block and one-handed. The one-handed one is I don't remember the name of either one of them, but the one-handed one is down here in the Reach somewhere, and the block one is up here in Hafingar or in the Northern Reach area, somewhere up here. I would like to have access to both of those at some point. What else? Oh yeah, so in order to kind of make this deadline, I'm going to be doing a lot of gameplay on my own. I'm not going to be recording it. It's going to be off camera. I need to get to a certain level with certain perks and everything, and unlock certain things with Carentier Tower, and just get through kind of the less potent points of the main quest. And I need to be able to do that pretty quickly to make this deadline. I will record when I get to a strong story point, or something that I feel I need to explain a little bit further, something that kind of explores Alusell's character in a very significant way, or adds to his story in a very significant way. I will definitely record those. But yeah, I think the majority of the play that I do now will be on my own. Probably super late at night or early in the morning. I'm going to be burning the midnight oil on this stuff to try to make the deadline there. To try to kind of complete Alusell's story the way I have it in my mind, and explore all the things that I want to explore, and tie up all the loose ends that I want to tie up. So yeah, I think that just about does it. Oh, no, there's one more thing. So remember I was trying to think of a name for Eric's sword?
It just feels right somehow. Having this new life as an adventurer. It's what I was meant to do.
I agree, it suits you. Eric's sword. So I decided to go for kind of a Lord of the Rings inspired theme for this. And I don't know if the Merrick tongue actually is fleshed out at all, so I just went with Elvish from the Tolkien universe, because that's very fleshed out. That's almost a full language on its own. So what I came up with is there was an etching on the blade in some Elvish tongue that neither Eric nor Alusell could read. So we asked Halldir about it, and his eyes kind of lit up, and he said, well, of course, it says Neth Forodren Methor, which means young northern warrior. This sword belonged to an elven friend of his. And he remembers it so well because elven friends were very, very few and far between for the ancient Nords. It just didn't happen too often. This friend was kind of Halldir's nerdy bookworm friend that was kind of more of an accentuated magey academic type than Halldir was. Halldir was very smart and a capable wizard of his own, but he also was a capable warrior. But the more magey one, the smart one of that duo was definitely this elf. And his sword said young northern warrior, which pretty much describes Eric to a T. Halldir said that the name of this blade was Lospel, which translates in Elvish, or I guess I'm going to say Merrick in this context, translates to snow edge. Now, it doesn't have any frost damage or anything on it, but it was kind of born in this snowy province of Skyrim, and it stayed there for its existence. And this elven friend of Halldir may make an appearance fairly soon. So we'll keep our eyes out for that. Also, concerning Eric, I think we were entertaining last time the idea of him becoming infatuated with these ancient Nord warriors, and how much raw power and strength that they wielded in battle. It really impressed him. That's what he strives for now. He keeps talking about how adventuring must be in his blood, and Alusell would agree. He is a fearsome warrior, having almost no experience. He's really cut out a niche for himself as far as being among some of the fiercest of the warriors that he's met in Skyrim during his stay. So, in order to kind of show that a little bit, Eric found some of this ancient Nord armor that he intends to make full use of, along with his elven blade, Lospel, which was kind of a rite of passage for him. He believes that it's his fate to wield that sword now, after hearing Halldir's explanation of its origin, and its engraving, the message that's engraved on it, and its name. So he's definitely wielding that. So no ancient Nord sword for him, but he definitely wants to portray himself as one of the ancient Nord warriors via the armor. And he also is still very much in love with his wolf shield, so he's going to keep that too. I don't know how well it all goes together. I think it looks fairly okay, at the least. Yeah, everybody gawk at the naked Nord. And the hunting bow we're going to take from him, because we're going to give him an ancient bow as well. So yeah, he gets all this cool ancient Nord armor. He's looking even more imposing now. I like it. And also we need to give him one of these ancient... Oh, the supple... I think I already had it. Supple ancient Nord bow. Yeah, I could have done that all in the same shot there. View standard output or outfit. So he gets all these arrows, the ancient Nord arrows to use. He gets a supple ancient Nord bow, which does more damage than his hunting bow did. Twice as much, in fact. Take his steel arrows, so he used this as the ancient Nord arrows. Okay, now Eric's all set up. I think this adds some cool character to him. Kind of fleshes out his character a little bit, which I think is a really fun concept to explore in Skyrim, because the followers are so generic in this game. Which on the surface is kind of boring, but it also affords you the opportunity of making up stories for all of them as well, which is cool. I like it. Alright, so I think that's it. Alusell is going to camp out here, most likely, get some rest, and then begin the long hike to Mount Anthor and the beginning of Caranthir Tower. So thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying everything that I'm putting together here as far as the story. I know it's not really a produced cinematic experience. I didn't want it to be too much work that would burn me out at some point, but sometime in the future I might explore the video editing path a little more for future seasons, maybe. Or even other Let's Play projects. I'm actually quite enjoying this. So we'll see what happens. Alright, so until next time, I hope everybody is doing well, and I will see you then. Alright, bye.